Liturgical Studies is very glad to be part of the interdisciplinary work of the ISM. Liturgical Studies is a form of scholarly inquiry into practices of worship. I won't say anything about the practice of worship here in Mark I Chapel other than come and see if you're interested. So let me speak briefly about the scholarly inquiry that is liturgical studies. What does one study? Well, most importantly, all practices of worship, textual and non-textual. So you may find us interrogating practices of liturgical dance, just as much as ancient manuscripts that offer prayers from the 4th or 5th century. We inquire into the past of liturgical practices, but also, especially given that we are part of a divinity school, we wonder about theological claims and meanings in worship. And then, maybe most fun of all, we study newly emerging liturgical practices. So, for example, feminist liturgies, animal rights, interfaith worship, and my own favorite, the migration of liturgical practices into cyberspace. Yes, it has happened. How do we study all these things? There are dominantly three approaches. A historical approach that asks what actually happened, what can we know? A theological approach that asks questions about the God-sustained truth in worship practices. And then a specific practice-oriented approach that says what happens on a Sunday morning or a Saturday morning, what can we do better, what could happen differently. Why all that at the ISM, an Institute of Sacred Music, not an Institute of Liturgical Studies? Well, I always say if you want to know what sacred music is about, you need to study the context out of which it emerges. And that's, in most cases, a liturgical context. So, in some ways, my field, liturgical studies, claims all of what ISM does under its wings. Thanks for your attention.